To this now, today marks exactly 4 years since whistleblower Babita Deokaran was murdered outside her home in Winchester Hills, south of Johannesburg. The Ahmed Kathrada Foundation is honoring her with a ceremonial walk in remembrance of her bravery in speaking out against corruption. Deokaran was shot multiple times after exposing corruption in the Gauteng Health Department. Newzroom Afrika's Katleho Sekhotho is in Winchester Hills there for us where the incident occurred. Good morning, Katleho. Could you just take us through today's program and in what ways Babita will be remembered today?
Maschaba, certainly a sad day for the Deokaran family when Babita tragically lost her life right in front of the gates of her home after dropping off her child at school. And it is because she blew the whistle on corruption in the Gauteng Health Department. At the time, she revealed the millions of rands that were being siphoned off through the Tembisa hospital. And she, as the acting CFO at the time, made a stand and made it known that there was corruption taking place, and she paid with that for her life. Since then, the question has been around the protection of whistleblowers. What does that look like in South Africa, and how they are often left vulnerable even if they do speak up against the injustices that persist in society. And so today is about remembering on this very day, which would have been a weekday after she had dropped off her child, when she was gunned down, shot multiple times. Since then, 6 men have been sentenced in her killing, but still the question remains as who exactly was the mastermind behind her killing. But I'd like to bring into the conversation Mr. Nishan Bolton from the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation. Thank you, sir, for your time. Just tell us, as we look on this day in remembering Babita, what do you hope the country understands, and how do we honor her?
No, greetings to everybody. No, I think firstly the country needs to recognize that people like Babita and many others subsequent to her death as well do what they do not because they wanted either recognition or reward, but because they thought there was something wrong with the system that needed to be exposed or spoken about. And I don't think people understand fully what that takes for any individual to do in an environment where you know that there is so much of wrongdoing going on. We, however, thank those who have done it and who will continue to do it. I think, secondly, it's inexplicable why the legislation around whistleblowers has been dragging. There was a discussion paper out, I think a year or so ago, but there's been, from that, there seems to have been very little movement in terms of revising the legislation and getting it before Parliament. I certainly don't understand this, and I hope that today those who have that responsibility ask themselves the question, what is the delay? I think thirdly, unfortunately, what you will hear from the SIU possibly in the weeks ahead is that what happened at Tembisa Hospital has now been copied across many health institutions in this province. And it seems as if the noise around Babita is just ignored by those in office, by those in the administration. And the extent of it, we don't know, but I hope that the SIU report will clear up. I think the last point is that the blacklisting of companies who benefited from Tembisa does not seem to have happened or to have had any effect. And again, that is something that the province and National Treasury would have to answer for. The consequences of this means that resources meant for critical services, especially in this province, which has got a chronically badly managed budget, means that people go without this. We heard yesterday at our summit of cancer victims, who almost 3,000 of them who have to wait for prolonged periods just for basic scans, and others who are possibly not going to make it in that time to get the kind of surgery that's required. But worst of all is that money then gets sent back to National Treasury, which is unspent. And that is just criminal. So I think that the country needs to understand that corruption affects all of us. It affects the poor in particular. And when it is left unattended, it spreads, and it spreads fast and furiously.
We'll leave it there, Mr. Bolton. Thank you for your time. So there you've heard it, Maschaba. Mr. Bolton explaining there the real effects of corruption and what that means, and also lamenting that since Babita's passing, her blowing the whistle, unfortunately the SIU still has reports to reveal which still show rampant corruption within the Gauteng Health Department, and that still the fight that Babita kicked off, that fight still remains, and still much more to be done in dealing with corruption.